Hey guys, it's Alex from Habitual Hobbies, and I just thought it was a good time to update you on what I have going on in the garden. So I thought I'd start up here in my bedroom with my seedlings and my little grow tent of tomatoes. So I'll turn you around and get started. Over here is the seedling table where I do the physical act of the seed starting, and I let them germinate before I transplant them and move them to where they need to go. So here we go. We've got these will be the next ones to sprout. Probably within the next few days, I'll have some basil and some peas, and then nasturtiums and tomatoes after that. But this tray is Brad's Atomic Grape Cherry Tomatoes, 2 rows of nasturtiums, which are the Alaska mix from Baker Creek. We've got 2 rows of Genovese basil, and then 2 rows of spring blush peas and 1 row of sugar bond snap peas. Back here in the left corner, very left, we have crisp mint lettuce and then little gem romaine lettuce, and I still say I'm not good at growing lettuce. I have failed at growing so much lettuce. I don't know why it's so difficult for me. Where I live, it is very humid outside, so maybe it's disease. They all just stop growing. They stay small, and I still eat them. They're just very small. It doesn't make sense to eat such tiny lettuce only. Next to the lettuce, we have a row of Italian oregano, and I replanted that one a couple days ago. Then a row of triple curled parsley. And then over here, if the kale would stop hiding it, we have some Celebration Swiss chard, and then some Nero Toscana kale and Dazzling Blue kale. This one is the Dazzling Blue. This one is the Nero Toscana, which is also known as lacinato or dinosaur kale. It's the really tall one that most places would use in their soups and stuff. And on this side we have slow bolt cilantro that I planted on the same day as the oregano over there, so we still have a few days for that to start sprouting. This one in the middle is some peppers that I replanted due to germination. Like, I only put 1 seed per cup usually because I hate thinning. It just seems wasteful to the seeds to me. Like, I have to pay for the packs of seeds. I don't want to sprout more than I need to and then have to get rid of half of them or transplant them out, especially when a lot of things don't like their roots to be disturbed. So I just do 1 in each cell, and if I don't get perfect germination, I do more. That's why I start early inside. This row is Sugar Rush peach peppers, and then these 3 are Craig's Grande jalapenos. This one is a Sunbright bell pepper. This is a whole row of Anaheim peppers. This is a Sunbright, and then these 3 are California Wonder. Over here, there is Sunbright bell peppers and California Wonder bell peppers, as well as more Craig's Grande jalapenos. I got good germination on those, but I just also want to give some away and share with my friends and my mom. And then another for Rio Grande Verde tomatillos. Speaking of tomatillos, these 2 bushes are tomatillos that I started with these tomatoes. So one is quite big, one's not as big but still pretty big, and then this is a Thorburns terracotta tomato that just germinated slower than all the rest, and I didn't want to get rid of it, so I just left him in his pot. This is a succulent that my friend gave me. When she gave it to me, it was only this long piece and maybe 2 of these little bumps, and it was rooted in water like this wandering Jew here. This whole flat, just these 2, this 6 cell, and these back behind the tomatillos, don't have anything in them. I have a plan in the works to do kind of a mix of a bunch of different varieties that my friend doesn't have, and I'm just going to give her that whole tray, because actually even the tray itself is like a flimsy Jiffy Pot tray that's gonna fall apart eventually, and I just got these brand new Bootstrap Farmer ones, extra strength, so I'm just gonna let her have those because she doesn't have these extra strength ones like I do. Next is what I planted, what I sowed on the 13th. Today is the 15th, so we don't have any germination on these yet, but it should be coming up soon. Whereas these were planted on the 11th, so those should be coming up literally tomorrow, tonight, the next day, and these still have a couple days. But either way, we have one whole row of Italian oregano, one whole row of triple curled parsley, and then some flowers. So this is one row of copper red straw flower. I have been wanting to grow straw flower because of the texture that it has. When you like rub your hand across it, it sounds like flipping through the pages of a book, and that is just amazing. I need that in my life. And then we have Zahara double bright zinnias, and then Lilliput mixed color zinnias. Those are both not from any specific seed company or anything. I think one's from the dollar store and one was a gift, so I actually don't know where one of them is from. Over here we've got Evening Sun sunflowers, and that's it for the flowers. And then I wanted to kind of do an experiment. So I already know of people starting beets inside and transplanting them out, maybe starting 2 or 3 beets per little cell and then transplanting them outside just so that the germination is more ensured. But I've never done it, and I thought, if I could do it with beets, why can't I do it with rutabagas and radishes and carrots? So I did, and I guess we'll see how that goes. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to pan out, but I hope it'll be good. So this last tray, plus one line of this one. This is Navone yellow rutabagas, 1 in each, because those get bigger. I'm probably going to do more if it works out. And then under this spider plant over here, we have atomic red carrots, and in these ones there's 3 in each of the carrots. So I did kind of like a triangle, so I did like this corner, and here. And then this ox heart carrot the same, and this imperator carrot the same. And then with the radishes, this is Japanese wasabi radish. I did 1 in this corner and 1 in this corner. So 1, 1, 1, 1. So when I put them next to each other, this corner doesn't have any and this corner does. So when I put this here, I could just fill the whole bucket with them and not have to worry about them being too close together. Same with the daikon radish here and here, the watermelon radish here and here, French breakfast radish here and here, and Chioggia beet also here and here. Beets get bigger than radishes, but they will push apart from each other, and I don't really like beets. I'm just growing them to try and make myself like them. So if I can get smaller ones and make myself like them, then maybe later in the future I'll care enough to give space to them to make them bigger. Other than that, in here we've just got this spider plant, coleus, and a ponytail palm. The ponytail palm has been in my downstairs for a long time. That's why there's all this browning. I just recently brought it up here and I haven't trimmed it yet. But all of these here, like this is new growth on the ponytail palm. And this, since I put it up here in the sunlight, so it's doing a lot better. Then we have this forest of tomatoes. And I love this perspective shot of down here because it makes me think of like how trees are just giant cultivated plants. So this makes me feel like the tomatoes are trees, and I don't know why, but it makes me happy. But other than that, there's I think 3 or 4 kinds of tomatoes in here. There's the Dr. Wychee yellow, the Thorburns terracotta, the Sunrise bumblebee tomato, and Castelluto Genovese tomatoes. So yeah, 4 kinds. And it's already so interesting to me that you can kind of tell the difference. Maybe you can't. I can kind of tell the difference between the slicer variety tomatoes and the cherry tomato. So like right here in the front is the best visible difference you can see. But like this leaf is larger. It's wider than my finger, half as long as my finger, and it's taller than the one next to it. Only by a couple inches, but still it's taller. And this one in comparison, its leaves are not even as wide as my finger and not even close to half as long. And that's just for the individual leaf parts. So this one has like a leaf and then 2 tiny leaves and separate, and then so like directly across from each other. I mean, so like here's 1 leaf on the end, here's 2 tiny little leaves, and then 2 directly across from each other, and then directly across from each other, and then directly across from each other. And this is the slicer variety tomato. This is a Castelluto Genovese tomato. Whereas this one next to it, This is a Sunrise Bumblebee tomato, and it's already skinnier, like in the stem is skinnier, as well as the leaves, like I was just showing on the other ones. There's one leaf at the end, the two like small miniature leaves. And then instead of being directly across, these ones are staggered. So it's this one, then 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 this one. They're not directly across from each other. And the leaves are just different shapes. The texture is different. This one like folds out more. This one's more papery. And all of the growth at the top is so small in comparison to the growth at the top of this one. And I just think it's so interesting that they at this age already. These were planted on the 13th of February, and today's the 15th of March. So these are a month and 2 days old, and they're already showing the signs of their different genetics and stuff. And I just think that's very fascinating. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tomatoes in here, and 1 tomato over here, and then 4 more tomatoes planted. And I might plant a few more in case when I put these ones outside, there's still like a freak frost or something and I lose them. I'll have more to just directly plant back in the space. Other than that, I guess it's time to show you the outside garden. Right outside my front door is just some dead wandering Jew because I let it freeze, and some dead mums because it got really cold. And then over here last year I planted some irises, which are these flat-leafed ones. That's all iris, and then these more fluffy ones are tiger lilies. I dug those up from my mom's house and just planted them here in the yard and added some soil on top because there was a hole there. I don't know why, but it would just fill up with water and we didn't like that, so I planted stuff in it. I also have in front of my house this bird feeder. Doesn't actually go here. It's new. I just don't know where I want to put it, so it's here for now with this shelf that I put ornamental plants on in the summer, flowers and coleus and things like that. It's just a metal shelf that we had have tied to our house. I don't know what this bush is. It doesn't flower, and I've tried my hardest to dig it out, and it keeps coming back. It won't leave me alone. The garden. Oh, the garden makes me so happy. So here we have bok choy, and yes, everything here is planted more densely than is recommended on seed packs. I understand that. I don't recommend it to you guys necessarily, but I do what I need to when all I have is these buckets. I can only plant so much, and I only have this many of the buckets, which most of the summer crops take up the entirety of these buckets, so I need to have the spring and winter crops out by that time, or at least in the least amount of buckets possible, so I could plant the spring and summer crops. But anyway, this in here is one big pak choi. Like they're so, I can't believe I'm growing that. Like that's giant. And then there's a spinach down here, a Napa cabbage, and then 2 baby bok choy. And underneath all that, down here, this is a broccoli. And then here we have another Napa cabbage, 2 more broccoli, another baby bok choy. This is celery that I planted from seed, and some spinach. This is garlic that I planted in December from just cloves that I saved from the grocery store. So I bought like 5 pounds of garlic close to Thanksgiving, and I saved the biggest heads to plant as garlic, and I planted them in the beginning of December because the size of garlic head that you grow is directly related to the size of garlic clove that you plant. So if you plant the biggest ones, they'll make the biggest heads. It's kind of like they store the most energy. All of these are just empty. I got this pot recently, and it's just got some ornamental grass in it that I'm going to toss away. I just got the pot for free from a friend. But all the, like that pot, and that garlic, and this tray, and this pot, and this metal decorative candle holder thing are all only on top of these other pots to keep the squirrels and the stray cats out of my garden, because they drive me insane. The stray cats think that every single one of these is a personalized litter box. These are some brassicas and some spinach that I let stay in these small cells for too long, and they got really stunted. So at this point, even if I put them into a bucket, which you'll see I did put some into a bucket in just a second, even if I did, I don't think they would grow properly. They'd be really stunted, maybe produce something. They'd grow really slow. They're probably already root bound, and their leaves are tattered by the wind. You can see the this is sunburn on it because I didn't harden them off properly. I just kind of let them be out here after a few days, and it got pretty cold. So I did try, though. These ones are probably just going to get tossed in the compost bin, but I did try with a few of them. So this is a broccoli, and that one is a broccoli, and these two are Brussels sprouts, and that's a cabbage. And those all came from these cells, and I don't think they're going to do anything. They are looking better. That cabbage in the middle especially is looking better since I planted it, but it still doesn't seem like it's going to have enough time to properly do anything. And then these two over here are just some celery that I put in there as space fillers. And then this bucket is basically these that I didn't let wait too long, so they're actually getting bigger. So this is a Brussels sprout, a Brussels sprout, a Brussels sprout, a Brussels sprout, and then two broccolis or cabbages. I don't know. I need to do better about remembering and actually tagging things, but those are either broccolis or cabbages, Brussels sprouts, and some spinach. The spinach is actually looking really good. I didn't do so well at spinach last year, the same as the lettuce, but hopefully I'll do better. Then in this bucket we have Napa cabbage, and a regular cabbage, and then a spinach right down here, and these peas are sugar bond snap peas that have been out here for probably a week, that are growing up the trellis pretty nicely. So that's basically all I have actually growing. Then there's just more buckets behind me of nothing, and they just have my trellises stuck in them so they don't get blown around. Some empty buckets right here that I just drilled holes in, and I have some potting soil so I could plant those out if I wanted. And then that's just the bucket I was talking about. And then we can check on the compost bin, which is down around here. So at the compost bin, I just took a video a few minutes ago for a short and rotated it, so I don't need to right now. But this is everything that I've been composting from last garden season and a little bit from recently. It's got some sprouts in it that must be from some like a lemon or a lime or some kind of fruit or something. I often take it out and smell it. It literally smells like potting soil. Your compost should not stink, you guys. Your compost should not stink. And then this side, oh, didn't mean to do that. On this side, there's just a root system and then some kitchen scraps down in the bottom. So some asparagus tips, Brussels sprout, carrot shavings, some eggshells, stuff like that. I need to put some browns in this one. I'll probably wait until I clean out my snake tank, and then I'll put the aspen shavings from the snake tank into here, as well as the grass needs to be mowed soon. So when we do that, I'll rake up the yard and put the grass clippings in here. So that's about all that's going on in the garden. I guess I'll show you inside the greenhouse. There's not much in there. Inside the greenhouse isn't much, just some happy frog soil and some unused buckets for now. These tall buckets are probably another third times the size as the big ones my tomatoes are currently in on the inside of the house. And if it's not time for the tomatoes to go outside, by the time I need to pot up some tomatillos and other stuff, then I'm going to put the tomatoes in those buckets and maybe put them in the greenhouse if I can, or figure out more lighting space inside. So there's just unused buckets, watering can, and the inside of the greenhouse. It actually is probably 5 degrees warmer in here, and there's no wind, so it's pretty great. Those are just some strawberries that have been growing over the entire winter. They were even outside when it was like -4 degrees, and they're still growing, so they're allowed to be here as long as they want. Well, anyway, thanks for checking out my garden with me, and I'm sure I'll give you another update soon, so catch you on the next one.